All right, welcome back, everybody. I am here with the famous Gary B, the casual comic guy from the YouTube world. Also, great local guy here in Rochester who happens to share a love of Rhino's comics and comics in general with me. And he is gracious enough to join us today to talk about his channel and initiative he set up that's really cool across YouTube, but also just who this Gary B is. So, Gary, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say hello to my keepers of the cash, as I always do.
Yeah, it's been so wild over the last year watching you grow this channel. I remember just kind of randomly talking, here and there at Rhinos, and then all of a sudden, hey, I have a YouTube channel, and then it's, hey, I have how many subscribers do you have now?
447.
Yeah, and it seems like it happened overnight.
It's weird.
I know
I
how
would have
just how
never thought anyone would want to watch a 50-year-old man talk about books.
And how did it all start?
It started with, as you know, being a parent with my kid who is, in our generation, we grew up with cable TV, and that was the big thing, right? Everyone wanted to get cable. Now kids grow up with YouTube, and my kid watches a lot of YouTube. He's really interested in doing that when he's later in life. I'm like, well, if he's gonna want to do this, I have to, as a parent, I felt responsible to learn how it works. Because I don't want my kid to be into anything unless I know how it works and I know what's safe and what's not safe. So I'm like, all right, well, what can I get on there and do? Never thought I'd get many viewers, but I wanted to test out to see what it was about. And here we are now. So what started out as a test to see what would be safe for my kid ended up being this big side project that I love and turned into something I love and need, but didn't know would fill a piece of me in the way it has.
That's amazing. I remember when you were just talking about it. I remember you sharing that background with me. I was like, wow, it's one of those things. Just awesome watching the parenting in action, but also the passion part of it too. And it's been so cool to watch. But it's also interesting to read your comments. You started this channel in such a genuine way of I want to be an involved parent. I want to make sure it's right. And then I read all the comments, and it's Gary's greatest guy in this comic community. Gary's greatest guy on YouTube, nicest guy, most genuine. I'm like, but it's so true too. So it's just awesome to watch it grow. It's awesome to watch.
I don't deserve that much praise. I honestly don't. I'm just a dude I'm just a dude making videos. That's all I am.
Well, I owe my channel. I don't think you want this credit, but I owe my channel to you too because my daughter saw your stuff and she's like, Dad, why don't you do stuff like that? And I was like, because I'm not as cool as Gary. And so then we started ours, and I think our first or second video was actually the box you gifted her of books. And
I've already started another one for her. So.
that was just so cool to her, and she absolutely loved it. And then you hooked us up with Slot It Up, and then they sent a box, and
I got really even cooler new stickers on the way, designed by Ken Wheaton.
Oh, very nice.
I gave him a lead, and there's some cool designs coming. Ones that don't have my face on them, so they'll be even better.
Well, what's interesting is, you gave me some stickers, and there were some packages I sent through eBay, and I sent your sticker with the comic books and said, hey, check
nice.
it out. So it's fun to do that. I love doing that whenever folks send out their stickers or cards. And speaking of my daughter, whose box you did.
Hi.
Yeah, you did her box, and she loved it, and it's sitting upstairs right now. So, I know that we've talked before, but I want other people to hear kind of your history with comic books, where the love started and where you ducked out and what got you back into it.
Well, it started when I was a kid. It was I've always been a voracious reader, and it started with Spider-Man, Conan, and The Brave and the Bold. As much as I'm not a DC guy, Brave and the Bold I really enjoyed back in the day. Mm-hmm. They were just fun stories in the vein of Marvel team-ups. It was just a lot of fun to read them. So Spider-Man, I think, is a lot of people's gateway, just like Batman is. You always have at least one major hero that's your gateway. And then, of course, there was Conan. I discovered Conan and Roy Thomas, who is one of my all-time favorite writers. Conan, the comic, led me to Robert E. Howard as a kid and reading the true Conan tales that he wrote, and then seeing what a great adaptation Roy did of this character to comics. What a true adaptation he did. And as you know, Conan has been a lifelong reading love of mine in all forms.
I think that's actually what got us talking was Conan, because I had some books I was sending your way, and we were just kind of talking about it, and it actually got me reading Conan again, because I was buying them. I just hadn't had a chance to read them, and so I started back.
And then, like everyone else in life, you go through your ups, your downs, your moves. I moved a lot. I started up once or twice, quit reading again. Sold so many books that would probably pay for the house I have now if I had kept them, but they're all gone. You move, I'm not moving all this. I'm moving into it. I'm moving here. Moving cross country. I'm moving. So a lot of moves. And then news came that Marvel was getting the rights back to Conan and they were going to be making comics with Conan again. That's when I started collecting again, was in 2019 with the Conan, the new Conan series. And I was starting to get back into it little by little because I was driving to our local Walmart. And that was when Rhinos was in its old spot. And my kid was looking for something to read or toy. I'm like, well, that's new. We'll just stop in there. And I had tried collecting in Rochester before, but none of the other comic shops I was in treated me the way I wanted to be treated as a customer. And I'm not going to bash anyone and say any names, but I never had a good customer experience with any of these other shops. Intermittently I did, but it wasn't a good experience every time I went. And I always felt like I was just being watched. If I didn't have money and I wasn't spending it right now, I was discarded.
Yeah.
And then here comes Rhinos Comics. I go in, within a month, I'm talking to the owner, Chet. He's inviting me in the back to watch a new video of a trailer that dropped on something. Next thing you know, we're having conversations. We're becoming friends. It's a friendly environment. You can bring your kid in and he doesn't treat your kid like they're there and they're going to ruin the store. You can't bring your kid into other comic shops without them being eyeballed by the owners. These kids are the future of your sales, man. Treat them as such.
Yeah.
So very personal guy. He treated my kid right, which drew me in right away and kept me coming back. And then he treated me right. And now he's got my whole family's business. And we've become really good friends. Chet's not just a shop owner that I have respect for. He's become a friend I have a lot of respect for. And there's a lot of things we see eye to eye on, a lot of things we have a difference of opinions of. And as you know, that's just being an adult. It doesn't stop it from being a friendship, right?
Real life.
You don't see eye to eye on everything with your friends.
That is real.
Chet's great. An awesome dude. And if I'm not home, my wife knows where to find me. I'm down at Rhinos Comics. It's not a guess. If Gary's not home, he's either at work or he's at Rhinos. He's with books. He's talking to his nerd friends down at Rhinos. He's having fun.
It's funny that actually, just a side note, I stopped in there randomly once because I couldn't find any good local shops. I stopped in with Zoe, my daughter, and we left with a bag of comics and an LOL ball that he just gave her for showing up. And she now refers to him as Uncle Chet.
That's the magic of Chet.
And we've been going back ever since, and it's like my second home as well. So it's pretty awesome. And it's cool that when you got back into it, it was partially because of a local comic shop. I'm always urging people to shop local. On my interviews, I always do local business shout outs because I really believe in local businesses. And I believe in local comic book shops now more than ever. I love seeing people spend their money there. So when Chet's running around like crazy, it makes me happy inside because I know that a local comic shop's doing well.
Right. And the thing he does that you've never gotten at other comic shops, right? You go in and you'll go there to get your polls. He's got other books in there, but they're books that he knows for sure you'd be interested in, and it's thoughtful. Yes, he's a businessman, but he's a thoughtful businessman. Because he's not just showing you something to sell it to you. He's showing you something that's tailored to your interest. If it's not, he's not just going to try to make the buck on you. But if he gets something in and he knows it's in your wheelhouse, he's going to show it to you. And since I've been there, I've completed I don't know, at least 11 or 12 different series that I always wanted to complete that I never thought I would. The original Spider-Woman run. The Hopeless, all the Spider-Woman runs, I should say. I have them all now through his shop. ROM, which was something I loved and caught my imagination as a kid. I had that run almost twice over now, all through his shop.
Awesome.
Micronauts, Conan the Barbarian, which I had to restart my collection in 2019. The original one run. I have one book left. That's 275 issues, 12 annuals, and 5 giant size. I got one book left to get, and it's already on its way to me, and I'll have a complete collection.
That's amazing just for just getting back into it a few years ago. And around that same time, I can't even imagine how many books you have at this point because I watch your unboxings and it's just unreal to think about these stacks of books that you probably have laying around. But it's
And it's
amazing.
strange too, because he makes it affordable. I couldn't afford to put these collections together at any other comic shop. This is a dude that works with you with prices, and he makes it attainable for you to own what you want to own.
Something else that I find very interesting is, and not just interesting, but unique, is that I've had some graded books that I was sending in for gradings that maybe were 9.4, 9.6, or whatever, and he has a better copy in the store. He just swaps it out. Like not even think, like no questions asked. Just I have a better
Yep.
copy for you to send in, and that's just
Well, he genuinely cares about making someone happy,
yeah.
and that's a rarity.
And I've thought about so many times about getting out of it, because I have so many books that I haven't read, stacks and stacks, especially um yeah, I can't even name everything I've gotten from there in the last year pretty much. Uh but it keeps me going back there. But then I also you turned me on to something that I didn't know about in our community, and I really enjoy it. It's the AOK boxes. And before I met Gary B, I had no idea about these things. And honestly, watching people unbox these and watching you unbox them and talk about them, it's been really awesome. We have a very small community in the area, and we're all great with each other for the
Right.
most part. But seeing, and what can often be a toxic community, worldwide kind of thing with the collectors and flipping stuff, trying to get the best deal. You've opened the door to a new friendly slash casual, in your words, slash just, the true sense of community when it comes to collecting. And you did that through a YouTube channel where you nationally have people and internationally have people just sending people goodwill, good faith comic books. And it's amazing to see. And I'm just wondering where that started.
I saw, and I can't remember the first video. So I saw someone open an AOK. I had no idea what an AOK was. So, and I was lost. And I finally figured it out. And I wish I could remember the first video I saw. But after that, I was like, well, that's really cool. I'm like, and then you see people that you're watching and people that respond to you. I was like, well, this person, I'm some new guy on YouTube. This person's taking a chance. They're watching me. They're supporting my channel. I got some books that don't fit my taste.
Mm-hmm.
I see in their channel it fits their taste. Why would I try to sell them to somebody else? I'll just send them to them. I know the books are going to get loved. I know the books are going to get read. Why not pay them forward?
Yep.
I'm not a guy that needs something for everything I own. I'd rather put a smile on somebody's face than send them something they like.
I'm right there with you, and it's been awesome. The one you did for my daughter, I don't know when the last time I saw her smile like that was, and then she said, I want to do a video like Gary. So we did a video like you, and that actually was what launched this YouTube channel. So it's been
It's a better feeling and I don't know, I'm a book purist and a reading purist, and to me, words are meant to be loved and enjoyed. And like you already know, if you watch my videos like you have, if I get a Batman book, it's going to my buddy Slotted Up 503 Jason. If I get Superman, I got 2 friends that I send it to. My best friend in town, Michael Cologne, or Jimmy at Small Town Collectibles gets those. I got a local guy, Rafi, who gets all my Venom books if I get them, because I don't like Venom at all.
Yeah.
So
and every time I get a Conan book, it goes in a special Gary pile, and I actually have
Gary doesn't share Conan. It's the one thing I don't share.
I have a Gary AOK Conan pile that I'm getting ready. I actually have a few books that I ordered from somebody during a cool sale that I said, wow, these need to be in Gary's collection. So they were shipped today, so I should have those soon as well. So check your local comic book shop for drop-offs too.
All right, I shall. I'm hoping to have another full box for your daughter soon. Right now, I got 3 Spider-Gwen books for her.
She's getting obsessed here. Her first batch of graded books actually just went out a few weeks ago.
You got to get them while their minds are young and get them hooked on that reading. You got to show them the magic. There's so much magic in reading. You got to get the kids when they're young and show them that this is a whole nother world that you can get into and enjoy. And if you're reading, there's not anyone else that can take that world away from you. It's yours. You're there.
Without a doubt. No. And that's think those words need to be heard more, especially in the comic world where it becomes grade and save instead of read and read and read. I think I posted in a group we're in today about, what book have you read so many times that the staples fell out, like, because it
Right.
doesn't seem to happen anymore. So I find that interesting. Now I know you're
I
busy.
looked at that post and I couldn't post anything because since I've been such a book nerd from so young that I would read books and not even bend the spine because I didn't want to ruin them. I was like that. I was like that kid, I'm like reading a book and it's literally not even open all the way, and I'm reading it because I don't want to put that crease in the spine.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time updating my Jungle Action books because I just read the crap out of them. But now I know you are a busy man with a lot going on, but I want to talk to you about this initiative you started that it seemed to take the comic book YouTube world by storm. That's that Grow Together.
Yeah, and that caught me by surprise. I was just trying to think of a better way to do shout outs, right? Because everybody does shout outs. I didn't originate it by far. Shout outs were being done by Metarog, just a weekend at his comics. Tons of channels do shout outs. But the problem with shout outs, and people will do sub pushes too. Oh, go sub this up. We're having these prizes. The problem with those that I was seeing, because I was trying to do those too, and they work a little bit. So if I sent 10 people to your channel with a shout out, the next day, 6 of those people are going to unsub after they don't win a contest.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to do it to get that quick entry. So I'm like, well, how do we develop this? How do we make this something more? And I don't know why, but it popped into my head. Remember at the end of Iron Man when Sam Jackson comes on and he's like, I had an idea, the Avengers Initiative. And all of a sudden the Grow Together Initiative came with me because me and you know who my usual suspects are, Jimmy from Small Town Collectibles, Jason from Slotted Up 503. Since we banded together, it's always been our motto to grow together. So I had that seed in there. And then that little clip from Avengers. And they just went into my head and mixed. And I'm like, well, we can do this better because what's going to sustain this community is all of us as channels supporting each other. And if we can do that and cross-pollinate, and even if once you have 400, 500 subs, and even if you get a couple hundred subs, you're not going to be able to watch everyone that watches you, and everyone you watch isn't going to watch you. It's impossible. There's not enough hours in the day, but you can still leave that sub there and it helps them out.
Yeah.
And you can still pop in once in a while, watch a video and comment on it. You don't have to watch everyone. Nobody has that much time. I don't expect everyone that's subbed to me to watch every one of my videos. I certainly can't watch all theirs, especially with my work schedule.
Yeah.
But we can still help each other with subs. We can still grow each other. And by helping each other, we can help our audiences find each other. And those are the subs in my mind that are going to stick around most. It's not going to be the ones that are just there for a quick win. Oh, I didn't get anything, I'm out.
Yeah.
So it's growing people that are actually invested in helping one another. It's the community aspect, it's a collect, and it's not just comics. It's a collectible community. Whether you collect diecast, pop figures, hot toys, whatever it is you collect, stamps. It doesn't matter. We're a collectibles community. We can help each other out in a way where we're going to retain more subs. And I always go back to like the Kennedy speech, right? A rising tide floats all ships, right? And it's just a great phrase. It means a lot if you apply it correctly. And so that's how it came about. And I just thought it would be a video and I would just be doing it on my channel. But then other people said, yeah, and it caught on. And I think it had more to do with me naming it the Grow Together Initiative. It just ended up being catchy, luckily. But it also, I think, showed people that we can do things differently that build sustainable subs.
Yep. What was really cool is not just you doing that, but reading the comments on that video. Just all the love being shown on there. And again, I'm on the selling end of a lot of this. I'm on the collecting end. I'm on the viewer end. I'm in every component of it. I see a lot of toxic stuff going on. And so to be on a thread like that you had about like bringing people together, regardless of, what end you're on, just let's do this, let's get you likes, let's get you subscribers. Let's just be a community, and seeing all the love shown to you. A, well deserved. B, it's just refreshing to see things like that. And it wasn't like a look at me sort of thing. It was a look at us and look at what we can do kind of thing. And it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
I mean, and you know, in real life, there's enough toxicity in the real world.
Yeah.
And that's why I went out of my way to be the casual guy in on YouTube, because this, if you notice, I will never ever put down another channel. If there's a
Yeah.
channel I don't like, I just won't watch them. I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell someone else I don't like that channel because I'm not going to spread hate.
Yeah.
There's enough people that spread hate in the world. And there's not enough people that promote kindness. So what do you want to be a platform for at the
Yeah.
end of the day? What lessons do you want to teach your kid? And, you know, like, and you can turn into a dozen channels that are putting down another channel to grow their channel. And
Mhm.
I will be happy to stay where I'm at if I'm not, if that's where positivity just dries out right here and leaves me at this, then that's how it is. But I'm never going to resort to putting down another channel to try to get something for myself. I don't believe in it. And it's not what I want my kid to believe in.
Yeah. Well, you know, your content's also fun. Your content's very collector friendly. And there's times where you unbox books and you look like a kid in a candy store. Just when your eyes get so wide, and it's amazing to watch. And I love it. And I'm just happy to have a chance to sit down with you and talk to you about this. I know we chat every now and then in the comic shop. We both have very busy schedules, so it doesn't happen quite often.
Right. And I could be happy getting a dollar book out of a box if it's one that's going to go in my personal collection.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I just, you know, it's about the love of the books for me. And yes, I want if you know, my channel's not all about. I think all of us when we started the channel it was about opening boxes because you get that flash in your eye and it's fun at first. And they're like, well, there's got to be more than this. And
Mhm.
buying boxes all the time, it's not something that's sustainable. And
Well, you
especially,
know,
I'm not a flipper. I don't sell the books I get. I give probably 90% of them away and 10% stay in my PC. There's a few books I get that I will sell. Like if I get a book and it's worth, I've got a few books that are worth a couple $100. So I've done a raffle on Instagram for them and moved them, and then I went and bought a grail with it. But for
mhm.
the most part, I A-OK them away, and you'll hear me say it. They're like, "I'll pick up book. Oh, I know who like this, and I know who like that." If it's not going to my PC, I'm not going to just keep it here to keep it here, and I'm not going to post it and on eBay try to make $10 on it and then ship it out for $6 shipping. And oh, I made a buck. You know, I don't care.
I do love when you pull a Batman book, though. Uh, it's just the face
Huh?
you make. I like when you pull a Batman book. The face you make is quite funny.
Right? You can
But
tell when I don't like a book, but
yeah, yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I think I remember the first unboxing I did was, I think, a Spider-Man booth unboxing, and I was half DC. And I remember rewatching the video, like, oh, I look like the most miserable person on earth. But anyway, you know, speaking of those videos that you do that are other than unboxings, I've referred quite a few people to your "What Does This Mean" video. You know, we have a lot of new collectors that have joined the community, which is awesome to see. Or we have collectors who have come back and terms have changed. And you know, I think for anybody,
right.
if you want to check out a video on Gary B's channel, I think that's a great one to watch, especially if you're just getting back into collecting. I think it was called "What Does This Mean," right?
You know, yeah, what does it mean? And I put the phrases on the thumbnail because you just see this, you see those questions about those all the time. And it's like anything, and everything you do, any aspect of any collecting, they all have their own terms. And if you're new to it, or even if you've been in the game a while, you don't always know the new terminology. All those terms I didn't know a year ago that I learned through just being in the community.
You know, I actually learned something from that video, and I'm the guy that a lot of people like text or call or email, like, "Hey, what's this?" when it comes to comics. And so now I'm just go watch Gary's video because I just learned something
It,
there too.
you know what's funny is I didn't think that video would do anything. I made it on a lamb, and they're like, oh, let's see what it does. And I
Yeah,
made it, and people had a really good response to it.
it was
I'm
great.
I'm I'm always surprised when a video gets a good response. I don't know why. I just am.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think, yeah, you've seen me reference it for a couple of people, so yeah, it's definitely a beneficial one. Um, it's fun the way you did it, but it's also one that you know people new to the game or just getting back into the game, or even who've been in the game for years, they'll learn something. So, my friend, I often like to do local plugs, and I was wondering if you have any local businesses, you know, outside of our beloved rhinos that you might want to give a plug to, you know, during your time here.
Oh, let's see. Where do I like? I don't know. We haven't been out so much, so I'm gonna go. let's go with something where we go as a family. It's going to be a local diner. We'll go with not even in the collectibles community, a local diner, and it's going to be the Peppermill,
Nice.
where my family can always go. It's always clean. The food's always hot and fresh, and the front and service is always friendly. And if we just if my wife and I both had just a really banger of a day, really busy, and we have a rule in our house: first person home cooks. We just do it and we get ready for the family.
I love
But if we're both tired, like Peppermill, yeah, and we'll head down and we'll have a nice
it.
dinner and then come back and we can relax.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, normally I sign off, but I love your signature. So I was wondering if you want to sign us off for today's time. I really appreciate you being here. I love the way you end your videos. So
Absolutely. First, I'd like to say thank you for having me on your channel, and everyone out there in the community, stay positive, be good neighbors, and keep it casual.
my friend, great seeing you.
You as well, bud.